Story 1. Update: I have just been betrayed by the two people I trusted most, and I don't know what to feel anymore. Original post: I'm sorry if this is annoying. I can't stop thinking about it, and for some reason I feel more secure venting it to strangers than people who know me and can judge me more in depth. I won't lie, I have been suspecting my fiancé has been having an affair, but I didn't have any solid evidence to accuse him. Even then, I had a feeling that I didn't want to dig any deeper because I was scared that what I was suspecting was true. 12 days ago, I came home from visiting my mom's and I headed upstairs to wake my fiancé, as he had a habit of sleeping in way past 2 p.m., and then complained that I didn't wake him. I open the door and all I see is my practically naked sister rushing to try and get out of a lingerie bodysuit that belonged to me. I don't know how to explain it, but my mind just went blank, like whatever I was thinking about before suddenly disappeared. You know when you stand up too fast and your head just gets a little dizzy? That's what I felt, alongside the feeling of sickness brewing in my stomach. I stood there for a solid 30 seconds looking at the two people that I trusted most and looked more shocked than I felt. My fiancé jumped out of bed and suddenly came up with excuses and went from, "It was an accident," to, "I was lonely and needed sexual relief." I probably should add, my best friend Kay led herself 2 weeks ago. The girl that I knew for over 15 years was suddenly out of my life, and even though I'm surrounded by people, I've told my fiancé about how alone, devastated and guilty that I could have done anything to help her. I just left. I didn't take my car because at that point my eyes were about to just start flooding. I walked to my friend's, 10 minutes away, and confided in her about what happened. The amount of grief I felt from not only losing a best friend, but losing my relationships with my fiancé and sister within the same 2-week period. Now that I'm sitting down to write this, I don't know if any of these relationships will ever be mended or could ever go back to the way that they were. I don't understand why my sister would do this. There was never any favoritism toward any of us for her to feel spite. I have never intentionally tried to hurt her. I gave her shelter when she had no place to go, and despite her not paying a single penny, I bought her food that she liked and made sacrifices in my own home for her. Hell, she kept ranting about how our living room walls gave her a headache. They were white, so it took the time out of my day to paint it to a nice gray color. My fiancé too, I gave that man everything. I was willing to have kids with him despite the fact I always wanted to be child-free. I was going to start a family so that he could be happy. I gave him comfort whenever something bad happened to him. I spent hours watching unfunny movies that he seemed to find hilarious. I even gave him a freaking locket with her anniversary photo and that he decided to wear while sticking it to my sister. These last days went from sadness to being angry, then disgusted, and it's a constant cycle of not being able to get out of. Despite being smoking-free for 2 years, I've picked up a cigarette. I'm currently 23. There's the moments when I go to do something but automatically lose interest, and even over dinner. I don't know how to explain it properly, as I've never felt this way, but I'm bored of eating. I have to physically force myself to eat something, and I have no idea what's going on with my body at this very moment. Because it feels as if I've gone into hibernation. I sleep almost 17 hours a day, and even for the rest of those hours I'm still tired and forced myself to stay awake. Both of them asked to meet up on Wednesday. My sister's exact message was, "Hey, I know you probably don't want to hear from me right now, but can you meet me and fiancé? We want to talk, and we want you to properly hear us out. The situation you found us in was not the most ideal situation to put you in a good headspace to talk about it right there and then. Please let us explain. I love you and you're my sister, and I don't want to lose you. Please. I think it's too late. It was too late from whenever this affair started, or even when you started getting sexual desires for my fiancé. I miss my sister, but according to what I saw, the sister I miss and whoever my sister is now are not the same person. I haven't talked to anyone yet except the one friend I'm currently staying with at the moment. I'm scared I'll be seen as a failure of a future wife, but now I don't even think I want to be a wife anymore, but I guess I'd rather share with strangers than people who know me personally. I apologize again. Hi, me again. I'm back and editing the post. At first, I was just going to dump this vent to get it out of my mind, but I want to say thank you for everyone's advice. I guess this counts as a small update. I'm unsure. So far, nothing big has really happened. The friend I'm staying with has offered to come with me to talk to my parents about this, including my older brother. She honestly has been my rock through this whole situation, and I couldn't ask for a better support system from one person, though I don't plan on putting that on her shoulders since it would be stressful to be the designated support system friend. I'm currently looking into therapy for both my grief and the affair. I'm not well-versed legal-wise, so I'm currently in the process of looking for a lawyer just so legally I know I'm in the clear in case there would be a loophole somewhere. I did contact my sister in another copy-pasted message. I replied, I don't plan on meeting with you on Wednesday. I'll talk to you when I'm ready, and whether it be tomorrow or years from now, it doesn't matter. You both owe me my own time to heal after the two people I've trusted most went behind my back, betrayed my trust, all under my roof that you both lived rent-free under. Bye. I can't lie, I was almost ready to tell her to meet me there, and then when she sent me that message, but I've realized, and though, through the help of people in the comments that I can't thank enough, I need time to work on myself mentally rather than repair a long-gone relationship with my sister. No, I don't plan on going back to my ex and never will. Maybe one day I'll hear him out, but today is not that day. As for now, I'm getting ready to try and explain to my parents everything that happened. I don't have any evidence between my ex and sister, however I do have their messages that they sent me which traps one another. I think that's the right wording. But anyway, thanks for all your advice and kind comments, and have a good day or night. Now for the comments before reading the update. I haven't talked to anyone yet except the one friend I'm currently staying with at the moment. I'm scared I'll be seen as a failure and a future wife, but now I don't think I want to be a wife anymore, but I guess I'd rather share to strangers than people who know me personally, and I apologize again. You have nothing to apologize for and nothing to be ashamed about. None of this is your fault. You've suffered a horrible betrayal by a family member and a partner. Again, none of this was your fault. To hell with your ex-fiancé, to hell with your sister. No amount of apologies or excuses should smooth over a betrayal of this magnitude. Can you move out to a more permanent location? Can your friend help you pick up your things? Have you considered speaking to your family about this? And again, none of this is your fault, and nobody is going to fault you for not being able to be your best right now. Lean on the other people in your life right now if you can. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but you can pull through this. OP says, honestly, I've not thought about my plans so far. The house we lived in, I inherited from my grandma, so as far as I know, I can kick both of them out. Though I'm not well versed in a lot of legal stuff, so I'm not currently trying to take a look at my options in case I need a lawyer or anything like that. As for family, I haven't said a word yet, and I've not really spoken to anyone except the friend that I'm currently staying at. I plan to tell them eventually about everything, though I'm just trying to better myself mentally before telling anyone else. I'm so sorry they did this to you. Whatever you do, do not meet up with them. The fact she used us and her message means they will be informing you that they are a couple now. They're going to blame hiding it on you and your grief. They're going to use this meeting to manipulate you. You need to tell your family so they hear it from you first. Also, you need to start the eviction process now. The relationship you thought that you had with your sister and fiancé is over. They were never the people you thought they were. The best way to move on from people like this is to go strict no contact immediately. I would block them everywhere. Ask your friend that you're staying with to put the word out that the wedding is cancelled and why. I wish you the best. When Fred and his ex split, he was giving her money occasionally to help out because he still had feelings. She is the one that has left. She got vindictive when she found out he was casually dating another woman. She took him to court for child support. Even though she was getting it from the bio father, the court said that he had to play a parental role, and that included financially. This happened back in 2019, and he's been trying to get it appealed since, but due to the backlog, he's finally scheduled for court next month. They have been garnishing his wages for 3 years for the children they are well aware are not his. It deemed he had risen their standards of living, and he was obligated to maintain that. Girl, you are not a failure, they are. They're the monsters, both of them. You are dealing with the highest form of betrayal from your blood and from who you consider to be your future. You deserve so much better than the bullshitting that they have been putting you through. There is nothing to explain their selfishness and betrayal, especially considering the fact that you are mourning your friend. You deserve a partner who truly loves you. You deserve a loyal sister, not people who try to explain away the hurt they've been causing you. Your sister was wearing your clothes. They were in your room. They knew what they were doing. You now have to make a choice for your own mental health. I would not advise you to, but if you do decide to meet up with them, do not go alone. The message they left you was only about what they want. We want to talk to you, and we want you to hear us out. They're making this about their needs instead of yours. F them. That's some classic gaslighting speech. They know you are currently in an already fragile state of mind due to your mourning, and they're already trying to use this to their advantage. They'll make it seem as if you must forgive them because you need them in these difficult times. If you're in a good place with the rest of your family, please let them know. Do not keep this to yourself. Surround yourself with people who truly love you. Is there a way for you to move out? Take control of the narrative before they try and start to spin it in the way that they want it. I'm sorry this is happening to you. Once again, you're not a failure. You did nothing wrong. F them. Now for the update. Hi Reddit, me again. I honestly forgot about this account until my friend I was staying with, I'll just call her Alice, sent me a TikTok where one of those AI voices reads a Reddit post, and you'd never guess whose post it was reading. Mine, lol. I wanted to log back on as I wanted to thank the people who showed me more kindness than people I was supposed to trust, and also the people who seemed interested in my life. Can't blame them when I read something that has some drama. I do also become invested. I'll start with myself. I got myself into therapy and began taking care of myself and myself only. Entering my relationship with my ex, I had noticed how much time I spent taking care of him and neglecting myself and my needs. It was one of those relationships that you didn't notice the faults until you leave and become a sort of a specter of what the relationship actually was. I think part of me was so invested in believing he was a good guy because how past relationships had hurt me before that I tried very hard to hold on to the idea that I had finally found someone who was different. Loving the wrong person could lead to devastating consequences, and I just happened to do that exact thing. Whenever I had seen stories before about people staying with their cheating partner, I was so quick to criticize how stupid that would be and thought, what do you expect when they cheat again and again? But now that I've been through that, it was an eye-opening experience. It's not easy to give up and leave behind someone you had invested so much time and effort into. Yes, you can lose all love for that person in seconds, but you never lose the feeling of the love that you felt before, if that makes sense. After I found out, I did want to try and work it out for many reasons, but through the help of my therapist, she helped me realize that I wanted to stay because after my friend's death, he was the only thing that felt familiar in the moment. Everyone is growing up and moving away in my life. I was in a position that I felt so alone, but to expect people not to change is to not allow growth. They moved out of my house and I moved back in. I won't lie, it was lonely. I was so used to other voices in my home that it felt empty. But an empty room is open to hundreds of ideas, in my opinion. I redecorated with the help of friends and some family, and even though that I had lost 2 people thanks to them, I was able to make memories that I'll cherish. I won't try to cover up that before I got the therapy I was indeed a wreck. I was just so tired of disappointment from my ex that the cheating was the final blow that knocked me back into reality. My sister's betrayal hurt way worse because we share the same parents. We used to share bunk beds and without my knowledge shared the same partner. But I owe them a thanks for allowing me to remove people who clearly had no good intentions. I will always love my sister even though I don't want to. But sometimes there are strings attached to people that just can't be cut, and she was one of those. I'll never welcome her into my home again, but I'll answer the phone if she was at her lowest. even though she was a snake in my garden, because it doesn't mean she's not my sister. She did try to call a couple of weeks after she had moved out, and at first I was angry at her. I honestly just wanted to hit her with everything I had, but when I answered and heard her voice, I just felt sorry for her. Everyone in my family knew how terrible she was, and just for some pleasure, she ruined the last relationship that was trying to help her. I just think she's a very self-destructive person that will never learn. They were constantly staying at different friends' houses because they couldn't afford to rent anywhere. My sister is apparently cheating on my ex with random people, and none of them are able to hold down a job. I would say karma, but it's just sad. My ex traded someone who became a pushover. For him, who gave him everything she could, for someone who couldn't give a SHT about him. I wish them well. I deserve better than that, and I hope one day they grow up and begin to become better people than who they are right now. My family no longer talks to my sister, so she's on her own. Some things I hear about her reminds me of just a confused child. However, I did see her on New Year's Eve. Me and some friends went clubbing because why not, and we unintentionally ran into her. At first I tried to ignore her and just pretend I didn't see her, but she ended up coming up to me and tried to talk to me as if nothing happened. As the ex-partner, I wanted to slap her, but as her sister, I wanted to hug her and ask her why, but I just left. After we remove labels of sister and her partner's ex or whatever, we share the same DNA, and that will always be the thing that connects us. As for my dating life, I'm currently seeing someone else and have been doing so since November 23. I deserve happiness, and I deserve a lot more than what my ex gave me. However, I'm still dealing with issues from that relationship that has me in moments of guilt and not giving me full trust. I'm happy that he understands and listens to me when I have concerns, but I don't want to constantly live with issues I carry because of someone else. We're taking it slow, and he always reassures me he's a good guy, and I'm happy he's in my life. I will find my peace with the situation eventually, but I'll have to work to get to that point, and that's okay. Sorry for the whole ramble, but this is still sort of a vent post. I have a lot of mixed emotions that I haven't been able to untangle. Thank you to everyone who listened, reached out, and gave advice. I appreciate that so much, and I hope everyone has a good new year. Story 2. My husband's ex-wife is pissed off at me because I didn't back her up. For context, husband and I are both 46 male, ex and kids are from his first marriage. His ex is a high school advanced math teacher. She teaches algebra, calculus, trig. She has her master in mathematics. Whereas things like a day without math is like, you get the idea. My husband and I own our own company, and I do all the books in HR. My education is a double major in accounting and HR management. Stepson moved down with us last year and changed schools. We are 2 hours away from where the ex teaches, so obviously he couldn't stay where he went and is a lot happier here. We gave her full access to his current school, including the parent-student portal. Now stepson and really all 3 kids are extremely smart and take education seriously. Stepson has actually been trying to get all of his requirements out of the way, including all of his math credits, so his junior and senior years he can take classes that will hold more interest. Currently stepson is getting B+ in his math class. Ex logged in to check his grades and was not happy seeing this. Hershey called husband and grilled him on why this is and what's the problem. He just basically said it's how it is, and he wasn't too worried because he was still passing. He said it could be because he might not be enjoying the class as much. She then called me and grilled me, but took it a step further and told me that with what I do and my type of work I should appreciate the importance of math and all that stuff. This is where it gets messy. I told her that my job is more than math, and that to be perfectly honest with my job, I don't use anything above basic math. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And it's also coding and a lot of different things. I told her that I hardly if ever use anything farther than those 4 principles, and that I also have a great accounting program and adding machine. I told her that husband would be the one who would be the use who uses all the advanced math since he does all the design work and all the advanced programs and is the head of the shop. floor. Here is the problem: she is relentless when it comes to math. She will turn everything around to make it sound like math is involved some way and will take fun experiences and try to include math in it somehow. She has been slowly turning all 3 kids off to mathematics at this point. She yelled at me for undermining her concerns for the kids' education and that I need to take the kids' grades more seriously. Aside from the B+ that my stepson has in his current math class, he is a straight A student. I told her that he might have other interests other than math, and that there wasn't anything wrong with that. She hasn't spoken to me since. I'm not too heartbroken. Now for the comments. Man, parents do entirely too much sometimes, and that is why kids end up hating certain things. Just let her be mad. Ignore it. He's passing and he's happy. OP says husband told her that with how she is, that she is going to alienate the kids with how obsessive she is over math, and if this is what she wants, then to keep it up. That makes sense, and it's her own mess. We have to guide kids, not make them, because it will backfire every time. I am a teenager, so I learned this trick real quick. It's been rough because I've been there, done it, but they are learning. My dad said let them choose and make mistakes so they can learn. I definitely was the overbearing parent for a while. I'm much better, and now we are building better relationships. I really hate how some parents automatically assume it's the child's fault. My younger son was number 1 in his class of 600+ students his freshman year of high school. He slipped to somewhere around 7th to 10th his sophomore year due to his Spanish teacher, and yes, it was the teacher's fault. He was taking his 3rd year of Spanish. Her city has a large Hispanic population, and my son could easily communicate in Spanish with any of his friends that wanted to do so. The teacher was nowhere near as good at communicating. She would send homework asking the kids to write paragraphs. The instructions were relatively short and would always include something like what we discussed in class as far as details, and my son would dutifully do the homework only to have it marked down as not what was requested. At the first parent-teacher conference, we brought up that we felt her lack of clear instructions was the heart of the problem. Her answer, "You still got a B+. He's fine." This was a kid that had a 98 or better in every other class at that time, so yeah, it was a problem. Didn't matter, too large of a school. Teacher that had been around for years had a reputation as being lousy means nothing was done. Didn't matter in the end. Kid finished number 6 out of 630 kids and went on to get a dual major bachelor's with a summa cum laude 392 GPA. In other words, it may not even be his mother or the subject. It simply be that he and the teacher aren't in sync. You're taking the right approach, and this just one little speed bump in the long story that will be his eventual.